Hey guys, here's Torsten back with in full effect. I hope you guys are doing well. And today I want to give you my review of the BenQ XL2546, which is basically the successor of the 2540, which I already reviewed here on this channel a while ago in comparison to the equivalent Asus model. And the reason why I chose this monitor again, by the time I did the review, I actually favored the Asus monitor, but I wanted to have the lowest latency available in the market, and I think the 240 Hz monitor without any kind of vertical sync technology, even though G-Sync doesn't really add much of a latency, but it just adds a tiny bit. So I really wanted to have the lowest latency possible. So I went back and bought the BenQ. But this time the 46 actually, there's a little bit of a difference. So it features this technology, the DYAC, the dynamic accuracy technology, which is supposed to provide extreme smoothness in action games, in fast movements, etc. So what else is there to say? Everything else is pretty much unchanged. The size of 24.5 inch or 62.2 centimeters. And then let's take a look into the box. Let's start from the left. We have the manual and the driver CD. Then we have the side panels you can attach. There are actually two. I just took out one. It's basically, I have never been using those side panels, but if you are really taking this monitor to some tournaments, then it might be good just to shield off your monitor, give you the least amount of reflections possible. And then we have the usual cables. I already am using the DisplayPort cable that comes with it and the power cable, but there's also a USB hub cable in there. And then there's an HDMI cable. And last but not least, we have the joystick here, which can be attached to a specific port at the monitor. I'm not using that neither because I don't really switch between my monitor settings back and forth. And but this can be an easy way to actually navigate through the menus and also easily access some of the presets. Alright, so next up I want to give you my impressions after using this monitor for a few days. So let's dive right into it. Okay, so the review actually, this is a 240 Hz monitor with a 1080p resolution. And firstly, maybe let's discuss who this monitor is for. So don't judge my gameplay, please. I'm not really paying attention to the game now. I'm just trying to focus on talking. And well, actually this monitor, if you are playing any other games besides FPS shooters, actually I would say stay away from this monitor, because there are actually monitors you can get for less money that offer a better picture quality, a higher resolution. So if you are looking at a gaming monitor, there are three things you want to consider when playing your games. You have the picture quality, the settings of the game. So if you're a guy who plays FPS shooters and you don't really care about the picture quality and you are okay with low settings because you really don't pay, you're only playing CSGO and you don't really pay attention to the graphics at all anymore, then yeah, this is the right monitor. But if you are a person who really wants the best picture quality but you're not really playing FPS games, this monitor is not for you, alright? Then you have the refresh rate, which is very important for FPS shooters because it reduces the latency of your mouse input and just gives you that perfect feeling when, you know, looking around and aiming, because everything is so smooth and responsive, and just if you look around you can feel the input or the movements of your mouse are instantly translated into, you know, movements in the game. And this is what the high refresh rate brings you. Then we have the third thing, actually the resolution of a monitor. So if you want a gaming monitor but you're also maybe a content creator or looking at photos and, you know, you want to watch movies on primarily maybe on your PC, or this is your only device of consuming actually content, then you also might want to have a screen with a higher resolution or a bigger screen in general. But like I said, this is a 1080p screen because it is all about the refresh rate of this monitor. And this is really where the monitor shines. So you have the super high refresh rate, and the difference between the The Asus model that I reviewed earlier on this channel is actually that it doesn't feature G-Sync, but to be honest, when it comes to this high of a refresh rate, you don't really need G-Sync anymore, because you will not see any tearing at this high refresh rate anyway. And if you are really into 230 Hertz, you want to have the lowest latency possible, and then you really don't need the G-Sync, because like I said, no tearing anyway, and it adds a certain amount of lag to which is you will not be able to feel anyway, but just the psychological impact. If you buy such a monitor, you want to have the lowest possible input latency, and this is what the BenQ really offers you. So it is really a hardcore esports monitor. And the picture quality, I have been saying, you know, if you want great picture quality, this is not the monitor for you. This was a little bit on the extreme side, because actually for a TN panel, which focuses on the high refresh rate, actually the picture quality is quite decent. And then also what I wanted to mention is the refresh rate. You obviously have to have a system that spits out a certain amount of FPS. You want to be as close as possible to the 240 Hertz, and I have a super fast system. I have a 7700K, which is overclocked to 5 GHz, and a 1080 Ti. So you're already seeing where if you only have a system like a 1060, you really don't need to consider this monitor unless you're only playing games that are not as demanding on your system. Something like CSGO, you will get obviously a super high refresh rate, even if you don't have super high specs. But anyway, the DICE titles are capped at 200 FPS anyway, due to the engine limitations. But if you're playing games like CSGO or Overwatch, you're getting a crazy high refresh rate out of your screen. So this is just a super nice experience. If you have never played on a 144 Hertz monitor, it's really difficult to explain the difference. But the first time you will switch from 60 to 144 Hertz, I'm telling this to everyone, this is where you make a step. If you are an FPS player, you will not go back to a 60 Hertz refresh rate monitor, I promise you that. So I've been talking a lot about this monitor. I mean, I could be talking about details about the backlighting, how perfectly it covers the screen. I haven't been even checking this out, because if you buy such a monitor, this is not really the focus. You wouldn't be buying such a monitor if you want to use it for productivity, you know, video editing. This is not where the monitor shines. And for FPS shooters, this is the monitor you want. Like I mentioned, it comes with the dynamic accuracy out of the box, which is pretty much the only difference to the 2540 model that I think was released around 6 months earlier than this model. So the guys who bought the older version, they don't really have to upgrade, because as far as I know, it is hidden in the menus and you can activate this feature. Just with this model, the 46, it just comes right out of the box. And to be honest, I can't do a side-by-side comparison, because I sold the 2540 already a while ago. So, but you know, just looking at it now, I mean, it looks super smooth, but so did the 40. I don't really think you will realize any difference, to be honest. But just for the placebo effect, if you don't have a 240 Hertz monitor now, you're in the market for it, so go for the 46. It's a beautiful monitor, but you have to know what you're getting it for. Otherwise, if you want to have it as an all-round monitor for sometimes gaming, productivity, stay away from it. If you are a hardcore FPS gamer and only playing shooters, the really competitive shooters, this is the best option maybe for you. Alright guys, I hope you liked my review. Hopefully I see you in the next video, and maybe you subscribe to my channel, and have a good one guys. Cheers!